Wait, let's go back for a second. Welcome to Chimp Art. Today, I'm going to show you how to create this stunning low poly plant in Blender. You can download my project file for free down below or follow along. So let's get started. Press A to select everything, then delete it with X or your delete key. Next, hit Shift A and bring in a circle into the scene. You can make it however big you want by pressing S to scale it. Press Tab to enter edit mode. Select all by pressing A and extrude up by pressing E. This sets the pot's height. Don't overthink it. You can adjust the height later. Once you have your height, extrude again and scale the rim of the pot out with S. Then extrude up, extrude again once you have your desired rim height and scale it in. And finally, extrude down to create the depth of the inside of the pot. This is where the dirt will go. It doesn't need to be perfect since the leaves will cover it. Select the ring of vertices or edges and press F to fill the hole. If you click off and need to reselect the edge loop, hold Alt and click a vertex or edge to select the entire ring. Repeat these steps for the pot's bottom. Add loop cuts by pressing Ctrl R, your scroll wheel, and slide edges by double pressing G as needed. We can scale these edge loops accordingly to give our cylinder more of a rounded pot shape. Once you're happy with the shape, return the object mode by pressing Tab and save your progress. And let's get ready to tackle the leaves. Start by renaming the circle to pot by double clicking it in the outliner. Hide it by selecting it and pressing H or by clicking the eye icon. In object mode, press Shift A and bring in a plane. Go into edit mode by pressing Tab and add loop cuts by pressing Ctrl R. Do 1 down the middle and 3 along the sides. Move the vertices around and create a leaf shape. Double press G to slide vertices or use S to scale. Don't worry about perfection. This is a low poly model. For a little curve, grab the middle vertices and move them up slightly. Select the entire leaf and while in edit mode, slide it along the Y-axis until the bottom aligns with the pivot point. This will make positioning the leaf later much easier. Switch back to object mode by pressing Tab. Select the leaf, press R for rotate, press X to lock it on the X-axis, and press 90 to stand it upright. Add a solidify modifier and adjust the thickness of your leaf to your liking. I went with 0.04. Unhide the pot and position the leaf. To make it look less stiff, go back into edit mode, select a vertex and turn on proportional editing by pressing O. Proportional editing moves not only the vertices that's selected, but all the surrounding vertices within the radius range. Adjust the radius with the scroll wheel or the page up and page down keys. This will help you shape the leaf more naturally. Once the first leaf is done, duplicate it by pressing Shift D. Rotate it on the Z axis and shape it differently using proportional editing. The trick to low poly modeling is to really take reduce, reuse, and recycle to heart. So keep duplicating until your pot looks full. When you're happy with the leaves, select them and press Ctrl J to join them into one object. Rename the plane to leaf, save your progress. You just completed the hardest part. Now let's add materials. Materials and lighting are what makes models shine. And if you don't believe me, look at this cube. That's a sexy cube. Start by clicking the arrow in the top right and setting the world opacity to 0. Select the pot and click New Material in the shader editor. Delete the principled BSDF and add a diffuse BSDF, a shader to RGB, and a color ramp. Make sure you set the color ramp to constant. Connect them into the material output and adjust the color ramp to pick your shadow and highlight colors. Let's take the pot into edit mode. select the face selection tool by either hitting 3 on your keyboard, or you can select this face select button, then click the dirt face. Hit the material button down here and click the plus to add a new material. Now highlight the new material with the face of the dirt selected and hit aside. Now you can change the dirt to be any color you please. If we're being honest, the leaves are going to cover most of it and the cell shading won't really be noticeable. You can just change the base color of the dirt and call it a day. Go into the render tab, which is this little TV. Make sure you're in Eevee. Go all the way to the bottom where it says color management. Change your view transform to either filmic or standard and change the look to a contrast that you like. I always choose very high contrast, but that's just because I really like bright colors. Now I want you to click the leaves, hit new, and recreate the same material setup you did for the plants, but change the color ramp colors to match the colors you want. Now let's save our progress. Let's go back to the layout and bring a camera into the scene. Add a camera by pressing Shift A and going to the camera and position it. Use the camera view by pressing number pad 0 to stage your scene. Adjust the focal length in the camera tab for zoom. Let's do the line art. Enable the Grease Pencil Tools add-on. Go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and Enable. Once that's done, we're going to add scene line art. We're going to hit Shift A, Grease Pencil, Scene Line Art, and it will give us the outlines. We can adjust the line thickness, opacity, and color in the modifier tab. Now let me explain to you why we needed the camera. This is because the lines are determined by what the camera sees. So when you turn to the side, out of the camera view, it looks like a mess. Just ignore that. No one's going to see it in the final render. For lighting, we're going to set up a basic 3-point lighting. We are going to add area lights by pressing Shift A, Lights, and Area. Experiment with positioning lights until you believe it looks good. If you find a lighting setup you really like, save it as a preset for future projects. This can save you a ton of time and ensure your style remains consistent. For a backdrop, add a plane under the object. Extrude the back edge up and bevel it by pressing Ctrl B. Smooth it out with Shade Smooth for a clean look. Save your progress. We got one more step to go. Okay, we're going to go to the Output tab, and here you can adjust the resolution. I just leave it at the default settings, but if you want something else, these are the most common settings. Since we are using Grease Pencil, go to the View layer, which is the icon that looks like a stack of papers, and under Passes, check Combined and Z. Press F12 to render, or use the Render tab and render animation. Save your work when you're finished. Congrats, you completed this super simple low poly plant, but the quest isn't over. Level up your Blender skills with more tutorials with Chimp Art. You can download my project file below, and I'll see you in the next one.